Hey, what's going on everyone? This is VT2 back from my latest trip to my nearest amusement park, Canada's Wonderland. I figured that would be nice to make a video listing off my top 10 favorite roller coasters there, especially since I have now ridden all but 2 of them, 3 if you count Snoopy's Racing Railway, which hasn't opened yet as of the recording of this video. Anyways, let's get straight into it. First on our list is the Family Wild Mouse, the Fly. Now, of the 10 coasters on this list, this is the only one that I haven't ridden during the 2023 season, so it isn't as fresh in my mind as the others. The Fly is a bit of a mid-tier thrill ride, since the turns are quite sharp and give you some powerful laterals. Plus, the drop was smooth and tame, from what I remember anyway. Overall, the Fly is fairly solid, and I may have to re-ride it this season to freshen up my memory on it. Next up, we have Thunder Run, one of the 5 roller coasters that opened alongside the park. Thunder Run is famous for going through 2 tunnels in Wonder Mountain, Wonderland's central attraction. Both tunnels are very dark, with the second being dimly lit up by a massive dragon statue, who is nicknamed Herman by park staff, ride ops, and roller coaster enthusiasts. While Thunder Run is quite enjoyable for a family coaster, it gets a substantial line and isn't included on Fastlane, so this may end up being a once-in-a-while coaster for me. At number 8 we have Ghoster Coaster. Now Ghoster Coaster was my first of the 4 kiddie coasters at Wonderland, as well as the last of the 3 wooden coasters I went on. Compared to Wild Beast, Ghoster Coaster is much more enjoyable. Dare I say it's the smoothest wooden coaster in the park. The ride provides some small yet quite noticeable pops of airtime, and also has a modest drop. If you have children, younger siblings, or cousins and are at Canada's Wonderland with them, I would definitely recommend going on Ghoster Coaster with them. Just expect a 15 to 25 minute wait beforehand though. Coming in at lucky number 7 is Dragon Fyre. Before riding Dragon Fyre, I had heard some mixed opinions on it. Some called it rough, others called it boring. However, Wonderland had made some modifications to Dragon Fyre's trains during this year's off-season, and as a result, they run quite smoothly now. Dragon Fyre honestly exceeded my expectations, but its 2 vertical loops and massive corkscrew halfway through, which I really enjoy. I'd have to say that Dragon Fyre has the second best inversions of the 5 that have them in the park. If you haven't been on a roller coaster that goes upside down, Dragon Fyre is a good way to introduce yourself to those inversions, much better than the ones on the Bat, Flight Deck, and Time Warp. And at number 6 we have Backlot Stunt Coaster. In previous conversation with friends and while waiting in line for this coaster, I was thinking it was going to be intense, and it sure didn't fail to live up to that expectation. Backlot Stunt Coaster is my first and so far only launch coaster, and its launch was very surprising to me, even when the ride operator counted down until it started. Backlot's launch really packs a punch, with the addition of the power that the turns, helixes, and airtime hills provide. Backlot Stunt Coaster is probably one of Canada's Wonderland's most enjoyable coasters. My only complaint about it is that it is missing the effects that it had during the Paramount days, which may have added some positives to the experience. That's not to say that it isn't a great coaster already. Anyways, now that we've gotten through spots 6 through 10, it's time to go through my top 5, which will either be agreeable or controversial to you all. Anyways, at number 5, we have Mighty Canadian Minebuster. So, Mighty Canadian Minebuster was my first wooden coaster, as well as the first roller coaster I rode in 2023. And after having ridden it, I can see why so many people love it. I came off of it in disbelief at what I had just experienced, and for good reason. The ejector airtime received from the bunny hills, combined with the head choppers in the form of the water slides above, make for a very thrilling experience. Maybe it was because I was given a middle row seat, but my ride on Minebuster wasn't very rough at all, which was nice since I had heard some criticism towards this coaster's supposed roughness. Also, I made the mistake of wearing my red Bass Pro Shops ball cap on Minebuster, so I had to hold on to it during the second half of the ride. Expect the tunnel at the end to be ear-piercingly loud inside. But overall, Mighty Canadian Minebuster is well deserved of being one of Canada's Wonderland's most iconic and beloved roller coasters, and I hope to see it stick around for a little while longer. Next up is the big tyrannical coaster that sits right beside Minebuster, Behemoth. Now hear me out, but I have a little bit of bias towards Behemoth. Behemoth has a special place in my heart, as it was what got me into roller coasters. My first time riding it was during Halloween Haunt in 2022 with my best friend, who sat next to me. While it scared the living crap out of me, I loved it regardless, and I enjoyed it even more on my second and third time riding it. The only problem I have with Behemoth is how rattly it is, but that doesn't really take away from how much fun I have on this hyper coaster. Behemoth gives loads of floater airtime, with it being the most powerful on the first and final camelbacks. Plus, I can never get enough of that drop. If you haven't ridden any of the big three coasters at Wonderland yet, I'd say that you should start with Behemoth, like I did. You'll either come out discombobulated from its intense rattle, or feeling amazed and wanting more. Moving on to the similarly sized Yukon Striker. Yukon Striker was brand new when I first went to Canada's Wonderland during the 2019 season. However, I was too nervous to go on it. In fact, it wouldn't be until the beginning of this season, on Season Pass Holders Day, that I'd finally ride it for the first time. I was honestly wowed by Yukon Striker on my first ride. Hanging over the edge of the drop is easily the most intense part of the ride, especially in the front row. Then, when you do drop, you get a quick pop of floater airtime that quickly turns into getting lightly pushed into the back of your seat as you enter the tunnel. Yukon Striker easily has the best inversions of any coaster in the park. Plus, you pass by Vortex and Thunder Twister during your ride experience, which both interact with the environment around you. I have Yukon Striker ranked above Behemoth because it's smoother, but both coasters are equally as enjoyable. Now we have my most controversial take on this whole list, Vortex at number 2. The reason why Vortex is this high on my list is because I really enjoy it. It's equally as smooth as Yukon Striker and Leviathan, and I also love the speediness of the trains as they zoom above Lazy Bear Lodge and over the lake and around Yukon Striker's drop. The intense swinging that the trains do as they enter the brake run will likely always surprise me, even when I'm expecting it. Like Fyre, Backlot, Stunt Coaster, and Minebuster, I think that Vortex is a good stepping stone coaster to work your way up to the big three, since it's a great way to introduce yourself to speed. Just know that it's one of the few roller coasters at Wonderland that doesn't have bins in the station, so you'll either have to leave your belongings with a non-rider or wedge them in between your legs. Don't worry, they'll be fine. They only really shift around when you go around that turn, but they should be safe. And finally, coming at number 1 is Leviathan. You probably all saw this coming, let's just be honest here. Anyways, Leviathan is not only my favorite roller coaster at Canada's Wonderland, but it's also my favorite roller coaster of all time at the moment. Back in 2019, on my first visit, Leviathan was almost my first coaster at Wonderland, had I not chickened out and went on Nightmares in the Bat instead. Flash forward to Halloween Haunt in 2022, I actually wanted to ride Leviathan, but ended up going on Behemoth instead because it had a shorter line. After that visit though, I became obsessed with Canada's Wonderland, as well as other amusement parks and roller coasters, and I badly wanted to ride Leviathan. It was hyped up for me by friends and family alike, with some even insisting that I was going to love it. I finally got to ride Leviathan on Season Pass Holders Day for the 2023 season, and it really did live up to the aforementioned hype. Leviathan zooms through its layout at very high speeds. The floater airtime that you get on the 2 massive camelbacks, especially the second one, is out of this world. It's arguably better than the airtime on Behemoth. I honestly don't think I can express enough just how amazing Leviathan is. It'll definitely be a coaster that I make sure to ride at least once every visit. I've already been on it twice now, and I'll be going on it quite a few more times this season. I recommend getting Fastlane Plus if you want to experience Leviathan and the rest of the rides at Wonderland, especially since Leviathan can get hour-long lines on busy days. But to some, the hour wait is worth it. But anyways, that's all for this top 10 video. Feel free to let me know what your 10 favorite roller coasters at Canada's Wonderland are in the comments. While you're at it, like and subscribe, and also make sure to tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Peace out, everyone.